Welcome to Daps Magic, Disney and Positive Stuff. I'm Mr. Daps, and this week I'm very excited because I'm going to be joined by my good friend Adam Bankhurst from IGN and Talking Disney Magic as we talk about D23, the ultimate Disney fan event last weekend, specifically Horizons, a Carousel of Progress, which was hosted by none other than Neil Patrick Harris and also Disney Experiences chairman Thomas Masloum. We're going to talk about some of our favorite moments, the biggest stories, and what we took away from Horizons, a Carousel of Progress during this episode. Before we get into all of this, though, we'd love to continue the conversation with you, so please subscribe to us wherever you're watching this or listening to it. Also find us on social media, and if you want more conversation with me, head on over to Daps Magic HQ at dapshq.com, where we have a lot of fun giving some behind-the-scenes conversation and looks at what's going on at Daps Magic. All right, let's get into this week's episode. Without further ado, let's have a chat with Adam. Well, welcome back, Adam. It seems like it's been forever, but also just a day or two since we've seen each other. But what an incredible weekend we just had. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. It's like, I know I was talking to my wife, Betsy, and I was saying we were, I think I was in LA for like 5 days, but it literally felt like 2 seconds. It felt like we were there for no time at all. I was barely on the show floor. I didn't get to see everything, but I feel like we did so much, and it was such an amazing experience to, share with you and like all of our friends and be able to cover all these things. But man, what a whirlwind it was, I swear.
It's amazing how much we crammed into just those few days and how much information was thrown at us and news that broke, and then all just cool stuff that you could walk up and see, like, Walt's backyard in train set form.
Yeah, right. I know there were so many surprises and different things. I mean, I loved the archives little area. Like there was just like anywhere you went, there's like something exciting to see. It's really, there's nothing quite like D23. It's really a special thing that they have going on there.
And it's so true. And we could go hours and hours and hours on this, but we're going to try to keep it fairly short. So we're going to focus tonight on Horizons, a Carousel of Progress. And I'm sure a little bit of the Imagineering Horizons Pavilion will sneak in because it's so related. This year, instead of having Thomas Masloum be the host like Josh D'Amaro was the host last time, we got Neil Patrick Harris. What did you think of Neil being the host? Was this a good choice? What'd you...
Yeah, I think it was a good choice. I mean, I love Thomas. I've been able to talk to him a few times, and I think he's a great guy and stuff. But I do think, having someone like Neil Patrick Harris, who is like, he's like so like flexible to do anything that like they throw at him, and there were so many different bits and different things that I think kind of really lent to it. And like I was talking, I think some of the girls from All Ears and other things, and they were like, this show was made for theater kids. Like there was just so many great moments, and like just it was a really fun show. Like I feel like they had a really good thing, and it's important to have someone like Neil Patrick Harris being able to deliver that. And I think he set the tone with that amazing song at the beginning, and so many really like. I think what I really liked about the show too is like Disney wasn't afraid to poke fun at themselves and do a lot of things, which I thought was really good. So I think there was a lot of good, like, hey, we're listening, we understand what the fans are saying, what the feedback is, and I think a lot of good things kind of came from that. So I thought I thought it was a good choice, honestly.
I completely agree, and I loved the running gags that they had throughout the evening. I guess you could say
McBrayer just killed me every time. He got the MVP award for me, I think. He just would always come back in like a different outfit, but it wasn't really, he was just grabbing clothes. So that was like the whole bit, and it was just so funny the way he just plays it so effortlessly. It was amazing.
And I thought whoever or the team that wrote the evening did a fantastic job too, because even though it looked like there were a bunch of random gags and moments, they all tied together, and then they led to this kind of a story for the whole evening as well, which I thought was super awesome. From the moment with the Disney animatronic song up to the moment it ended was all connected. So we did start with this audio animatronic song, and it's all about the Carousel of Progress, and which totally perfect. then it led to an evening full of reveals. And I loved the way they structured this. And I don't know if you had the same takeaway as I did, but I thought they were smart in the way they took the past and said, hey, this is what we announced before. We finished. Look at this. This is what's in progress and how far we've made it. And with the credibility that came with the two of those, they could pivot to what's coming in the future. How did you think about their communication styles and how it connected with you?
Yeah, I think I think you put it a really good way. That's really how they presented it, because I think 2024 was my first D23, and it was like I literally couldn't even believe what was happening. There was just announcements and lands and things. It was such an amazing thing. But this year, and they kind of set the table a little bit before D23, and just letting us know that, hey, this isn't going to be as much of a spectacle, amazing things happening, but we're going to be giving you updates on all these things that we've happened. And I think at first people love the big announcements and big splashes, but I think having something to be like, hey, you're going to be able to see the stuff maybe next year, maybe the year after. Like there are boots on the ground. Construction is happening. Things are happening. And I think that's really special, the way they kind of did this. And I think what really took it to the next level for me, especially someone who loves studying the magic behind the magic, how they brought out the Imagineers to explain these projects. Like it wasn't, random celebrity bringing out like some announcement. It was the people that are actually bringing these experiences to life. And I love that so much. And also how that bled into the Imagineering Pavilion, which I know we'll get to a little bit later, but you could literally just go up and talk to Imagineers. These are the people that are bringing these experiences to life. And that makes it so special. Because like I said, the people are there that are building these things, listening, experiencing things, and giving you the details. And I love that. That was really special for me.
Well, and I think it also just adds an extra layer of credibility, because these people are working in Avengers Campus or wherever it happens to be, and you're like, oh, I just saw you in a video on the ground, or maybe we saw you in a video afterwards on the ground. But like it really does, it puts faces to these things that we will someday experience as we fly through galaxies and quantum realms or whatever they are. But no, I loved that they did that. Since I brought up Avengers Campus, I feel like we should start with the announcements for Disneyland. So we got the Coco attraction update, a little bit about what's going on with that. We got the Avengers Campus update. And then we also got the Tomorrowland news, which were kind of the big three, if I've got this right in my head. What did you think of these three? And
yeah,
how were they received? All that stuff.
Yeah, so I think having something. So I think maybe we'll start with Tomorrowland, just because that's kind of the big one, even though it was also kind of the most nebulous in a sense. But like, I know we got the big, Dreamfinder and Figment thing at the end, but this was kind of like the big one more thing. Like, hey, this is something to think about. This is something to theorize about, to talk about. What is this could be? What could this be? The 75th anniversary of Disneyland is coming up. How could they celebrate this like reinvention of Tomorrowland, which is such a special place in all of our hearts? And I think that like having that at the end, I thought was really smart, because like I said, a lot of this show, as we mentioned, was things we knew about and updates and things. But this is like something fans have obviously been asking about for a very long time. I mean, could they have thrown in, hey, People Mover's coming? That would have been like, that would have broke the internet. That would have been, I know, right? It's like, that needs to happen. Like, I understand there's a lot of probably work and things behind the scenes of like how these announcements go. But I think it was cool to like have that big kind of thing high, like pie in the sky, that we can really discuss, like, what could this mean? What could this look like? What could this be? I thought it was a really good way to kind of cap off the evening in a really big way.
And I think just to add to what you're saying is, I heard some criticisms afterwards that like, hey, why didn't we get more information about this or whatever? But you go back to think of when we heard about Piston Peak or other lands and projects through the years. Usually what we get is, here's what's we're building, and here's a piece of art. And I think just because there's so much emotional connection to Tomorrowland, and there's always this kind of like hope for someday it's going to be awesome. They're going to nail this someday. We got a new wall right now, but
the infamous wall. I love it.
Yes. But like, I think there's so much hope and investment, that's personal investment with fans for Tomorrowland, that that is one of the reasons it's one of the biggest announcements, but also one of the reasons it's probably getting the most consternation and all of that fun stuff. We also got a little bit of a preview of that announcement ahead of time. And I thought it was interesting getting to hear it from the people that are doing this and realizing how early in the process they're letting us in on that. And I thought that was really cool of them to do that and to give us something to hope for, but it also let us see the people behind the project in a deeper way. And I personally thought, just looking at them eye to eye, that it gave me a lot of trust for them. Did you have any thoughts with that?
Yes, 100%. And I think that's a really interesting thing that they invited a few people to talk about what they were announcing and doing things. And I think in this new era of Imagineering, as I'm kind of calling it, like they really are kind of inviting people more behind the scenes than ever before. A few months ago, I was able to go to an offsite Imagineering office to get a preview of some of these announcements and some of these things that were happening. And that's like, some of this stuff has never really happened before. Yeah. And this is like a really kind of big thing, because this is like the most secretive of secretive places at Disney. This is like the Fort Knox. This is, nobody ever gets to see these things. Like this is very, very, very secretive, because these are, like I said, I mean, billion-dollar operations that these people are working on and like shaping the future of these lands that obviously have a lot of stakeholders and have a lot of fans and a lot of things. So they need to keep things very tight and stuff.
Not to mention competitors.
Yes, right. Exactly. Yeah, not to mention competitors. You're right. 100%. But I think it's so smart the way that these Imagineers are kind of like, pulling back the curtain a little bit. Obviously, they got to keep a lot of secrets and a lot of things there. But I think even that little bit of a peek behind things, and also the back and forth, not only with like media, but with fans, are saying, hey, we are listening. Like, we're not just doing this in a vacuum. Like, we do understand, like, obviously you never want to pander 100% to the fans or to the people, because like that's never, ever going to work. But I think being able to have just even a little open line of communication is really special. So I'm really glad to hear that they were able to do that and kind of do that. It feels really good, because I think, like I said, a lot of these things are shared by people all around the world. And these are not just rides. These are future memories. These are future foundational things that people are going to go through. So I think it's important that there's like a little bit of, hey, what's working, what's not. So I think that's really special to hear. And I'm glad to hear it.
And I think the communication is just an important part of any, like, back and forth communication is an important part of any relationship. And I think they're leaning into that on multiple fronts, whether it's social media, meeting people in the parks, meeting people at D23, special events like we both have gotten to attend. And I like that investment they're making in fans.
Yes.
Because I think long term, an investment in your fans is going to be an investment in your company.
100%. It all comes back to it. I completely agree. Because
so
if the fans aren't happy, what's going to happen? It's like it's very easy. Like that's, and with Disney, like I said, it's not just fans; it's generations of fans. And they said, like, if you do things the wrong way, you could literally, like I said, ruin a generational fanship. Which, like, very few companies can say they have something like that. So it really is kind of like, I know it sounds hyperbolic, but it's like a sacred thing that they have, and it's kind of a responsibility to do it the right way, or they will lose, and it'll cost them for sure.
Yeah. And I think that's what's exciting about where we're at right now. One of the other exciting things, speaking of family and deep relationships that go for a long, long, long way to the other world, I guess you could say, the Coco attraction.
Yes.
How was that for a transition, huh?
Yeah, right. That was good. You're smooth, man. I like it. This is good.
What did you think of the updates for that? Like, we got a little bit of a backstory that it takes place after the movie, but you're kind of remembering what happened, and it looks like it's going to be beautiful.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be amazing. I mean, Coco. So, The Lion King is the movie that got me into Disney. It's my mom first introduced me to it. We had a cat named Simba growing up. Like, that's my movie.
Nice.
Never thought it would be, topped, but Coco finally, I think, dethroned it by like 1%.
Wow.
Because the movie is so special. And, especially after losing my father to cancer a few years back, it took on obviously another meaning. And it's that movie that I wish I could, like sometimes people ask, like, is there a movie you wish you could jump into or be a part of or live? It's like that movie, because being with the people you love and knowing that they're there, they're always looking down on you, that when this journey we're on is over, we return to them, I think is one of the most beautiful, special things. And I think they told that story so beautifully, on top of it just being a gorgeous film. I mean, like the Marigold Bridge and the City of the Dead. I mean, it's like, I think it's going to be so beautiful, and like having just a classic, you know, kind of dark ride that takes inspirations from Pirates and a lot of these rides, I think is going to be really, 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 really special, because Coco has the music, it has the things, and I think it fits so well into that area of DCA where there's already a lot of, you know, that like the, you know, the culture is there, the food is there, there's a lot of, it fits really well. And I'm, like I said, we didn't really learn too much of, like, yeah, we learned the story and we saw a little bit of concept art, but like, but I think it's gonna, I'm so excited. Coco means so much to me, so I'm all aboard the Coco train.
And I just think anytime you can take a Pixar story and put it into an attraction, the sky's a limit, because they're so beautiful already.
Yes,
and I think 100%. That's what excites me. And as much as the story, it's the visuals that you think. You're talking about the Marigold Bridge, and even like, there's so many moments in that film. I'm thinking of the trolley thing as it's flying through.
Yes, right.
I'm like,
what if they a lot of things?
Yeah, and it's just, and then you think of the lights they can control and the effects. Like, I just think there's so much possibility for this attraction.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's also something really smart that Disney is doing. And I feel like they've been doing it a little more kind of recently too, is really trying to pair this with other things. Because we know we got another glimpse of Coco 2. We're getting teenage Miguel. We're getting that. And also that Coco's coming to Kingdom Hearts 4, which is another huge deal. So like, you know, when this movie comes out in 2029, if the attraction's somewhere around there and Kingdom Hearts is somewhere around there, well, Kingdom Hearts is next year, but like there's going to be a lot of upswell for this franchise, which I think is going to, you know, lead to a lot of excitement for these things kind of coming into it. So I think it makes it really special when, you know, this company that has all these different avenues are able to kind of bring that together. Because, you know, it's a lot easier said than done, because, you know, there's a lot of talk in like the gaming world, like Fallout is a big show, but we're like, where is the tie-in? Where is the game? Where is this? What's happening? It's like I said, it's not an easy thing to do, but when you're able to kind of make that stuff happen, like magic can happen. It's pretty special.
Well, and they're being so intentional about it. Like, this is what Josh D'Amaro basically day one is like, hey, we're one Disney. We're going to, we're going to put all these things together. And it's not even a like, oh, we're going to give this a shot. It's like, this is what we're doing.
Right.
And I love it. I think it's great because it'll keep things on the forefront of people's minds and it'll keep the excitement going. And the hardest part for us here in California and also across the country is just waiting for this attraction to open.
Oh, I know.
Because it's not the next attraction to open.
Right.
We've got Avengers Campus coming. So that's a little bit later than some of us expected, I think.
Yes.
So we learned a little bit about Infinity Defense and Stark Flight Lab that we really in the form of video that we hadn't seen before. We learned it's 2028, if I remember correctly, that they're aiming for this expansion to open. And meanwhile, the locals are just excited for the walkway to reopen, hopefully soon.
Yeah, right.
But as I'm thinking about the Avengers Campus expansion, though, that video that they showed the ride through of Infinity Defense in its kind of not made version yet, like where we're seeing partially made props and all that stuff. So cool. What did you think of all this?
Well, I think one of the coolest things, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think this was an Infinity Defense where there was like, they showed kind of how the Imagineers kind of walk through the ride, where there's like the ride vehicle on the ground and they were like following it and doing stuff, which was, that was like so cool to see. I love that, like you could kind of see how these people are visualizing all this stuff, which is really special. And
like they're thrown on the back of a truck at one point or something, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. And like you mentioned, there's like the big, you know, Mjolnir is kind of sitting there and doing stuff, and there's a lot of, obviously they're massive. Yes, huge. Like I love nothing is better when Disney plays with scale, and like when anybody plays with scale. I think it's so special. Obviously Rise of the Resistance and like these other things where it's like you feel like you're a part of a place. It's like, how did they do this? It's like really special. And I think obviously having, Robert Downey Jr. and other actors kind of come back to add that authenticity, it always helps. I mean, I think it's a big thing. I think, Robert Downey Jr. feels like he's doing his victory lap. He's like doing all the things again. He's Dr. Doom and going back to Iron Man, but like it works. And I think it'll be really cool when it's like, oh yeah, these are the characters and we're a part of this story.
And it connects with so many generations too. Like you think of how far the MCU has come, and they're using different characters from different parts of the MCU. So like we can go on it. We're going to be like, oh, there's, Iron Man. And then, maybe people that are a little bit newer to the MCU are going to go on and they're going to say like, oh, there's Ms. Marvel. And I love that. And it's also been a fun thing, I think, with Spider-Man being in Avengers Campus as well. Same sort of a thing where everybody loves Spider-Man.
God.
Like
movies destroying, like
oh my gosh,
Spider-Man cannot be stopped at all. It's wild.
No kidding. If it keeps going like this, I feel like they have to rewrite the attraction, and Spider-Man becomes the I don't know.
Seriously, it's crazy. I know Spider-Man is always an interesting thing with the rights and how much Marvel can use it, and there's like a lot of things, but like it's obviously very smart when you can include good old Spidey. Obviously, he already has a presence there, but it's nice to know that he'll be a part of this, like this bigger, like really big attraction.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of big attractions, Walt Disney World. We have a lot coming there. We can start it. You pick which park would you like to start with?
So yeah, I think for me, what I think I'm just really, really excited for is Tropical Americas and Animal Kingdom.
Yes.
I think that's kind of a fun place to start, if you will. I think we got a lot of more of like I said, what the experiences are going to be. It's really kind of coming and shaping together. We got the name of the Indie ride. We got more of the Encanto ride. We got to see, the carousel, which I am just so excited about as like a Disney animation person, like having these hand carved characters that like we'll be able to like have be part of this attraction is just a really special thing. But I think this land is going to be such a joy to walk through. It's going to be so beautiful, so much nature. And obviously it just really fits like the animal theme. Like they mentioned, I think in the Encanto ride, there's going to be like some 50 some animals that are going to be there. And there's going to be a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of, I think, really smart connections being made there. But I'm really excited how this land is shaping up, and also hearing behind the scenes about how they're really taking the culture seriously, from the Mayan culture to that whole area like Colombia and stuff. Like I really love that they're kind of bringing this new culture that people will be able to experience, in the near future.
I totally agree. And I loved that the Imagineering Pavilion also had, was it the burrow that's going to be in the attraction? And so you could actually and they had some mock-ups and stuff, but I love that you could connect what you were hearing in the showcase with a physical, like, oh, this is going to be on the ride.
Yeah, and right, definitely.
I love that they're bringing it to life in those different ways. I also loved what we learned about the Indiana Jones attraction, like what's it called? I've got it here somewhere. Indiana Jones and the Myth of the Jade Serpent. And there's so many good choices being made with this. One, snakes.
Yes, right. It's like, it's so perfect. It's so perfect. And having Harrison Ford kind of be the face for the first time too. Right. Like on top of that is just such another spot. Like I said, that authenticity. We come to these parks and we have such an idea of who these characters and who these worlds are. And it's like, it really makes a difference when it's the actual people. I mean, it's like kind of silly. Like I love, oh my God, Guardians. Oh my God, the one in Walt Disney World, Epcot.
Oh yeah.
What's it called? Why am I blanking?
Cosmic Rewind.
Yes, that's what I was saying. So I love Cosmic Rewind.
But whenever Rocket Disneyland version,
I know, right? But whenever Rocket Raccoon comes on, I'm like, yeah, but you're not Bradley Cooper. Like, there's like a part of me that's like, the person did a great job or whatever, but like, there is that little bit of disconnect that happens because once again, these stories mean so much more to us. Like when they connect to you, they really become like a part of your pop culture soul, as I like to call it. Like they really are something special. So when there's something like a little off, you're like, yes, it is, but it's not. So like I always love when they can be authentic. So I think it's going to be really great. And like, we got to see the model of the serpent that was there, which looks amazing. Like this ride's going to be crazy. Yes. Right.
Like that was the thing that blew me away, was like, oh, it'll be big. And then you walk in and it's like massive over this little figure. And I'm like, oh
my gosh.
And then I'm like, where is that going?
Right. Exactly.
Presumably it's going to be the same sort of path. I mean, it will be the same path as what dinosaur was. So I'm like, oh, is this, replacing a dinosaur? Um, I also love, though, the depth they're taking to get the story connected with Maya culture and history, and really making it authentic in that way too. Just from the kind of history archaeology nerd in me, where I was immediately like, oh wait, I want that book.
Yes, right. Exactly. 100%.
Maybe we'll get a future Imagineering story on it or something, and that would also be acceptable. Actually, probably more than acceptable.
I know, right? Exactly. That's like, it feels needed at this point. Mm-hmm. But I think I didn't make it to one of the panels, or I can't remember where this was from, but I remember hearing I learned something new, that like the Mayan temples that we see today are actually built upon like the original ones that like used to be there. And so this attraction is going to be based on kind of one of the original ones, very ornate, very beautiful and stuff like that. Cool. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's a really interesting concept, that they like kind of built upon what came before and doing things. And we're going to get one of these original things. I'm like, see, that kind of stuff is so cool that maybe we wouldn't have known otherwise, but because it's kind of linked to this theme park, this wonderful land that we love, like we're learning more about this stuff, which I think is a beautiful way to introduce people to different cultures in a fun and exciting way. Yeah.
And I love that it carries on kind of the themes that you have of like both Animal Kingdom and Epcot, where there's the edutainment thing happening. Yes. This, like, just thinking of both of these different cultures that they're bringing in for this, I'm very intrigued to see, one, what we learn, two, what does it inspire us to go out and learn?
Yes.
And then three, completely unrelated, will we get a Harrison Ford audio animatronic in California?
I know, right? I feel like this is the start. This is the start of something happening. I could see it. They started Walt in Disneyland. Now he's coming to Walt Disney World. Why not Harrison? Why not?
It would be a win. We would love it. I think it'd be great.
Oh my gosh. I feel like Harrison is just so beloved. I'm telling you, like when he showed up at the Legends panel, or the Legends like ceremony for Bob Iger, like people went nuts because it was kind of a surprise. Like there's so much love for Harrison.
And wasn't it so endearing, though, the relationship he had with Robert Downey Jr.? It appeared like the two of them goofing off with each other.
Right. It was great. It was so good. Oh my gosh.
All right, let's head to Magic Kingdom.
Yes.
Let's start with Carousel of Progress, because I think that's probably the easiest thing of all we got. We got another piece of concept art looking at Halloween, when the 1980s, which the moment I saw it, I was like, oh, my childhood. And we also learned, Bryan Cranston and Jamie Lee Curtis will be voicing father and mother in the attraction. What do you think of what we heard from Carousel?
So Carousel is another one that means so much to me. I sing There's a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow to my son and daughter like most every nights before bed.
Nice.
And I think it's such a special attraction that like there's not as many where you can just sit somewhere for like 20 minutes and experience a story and immersive and like things, and that has so much history and so many great things. So I think this is a really interesting win for them for making it more modern, hopefully connecting with more audiences and stuff like that. And I think getting, Jamie Lee Curtis and Bryan Cranston, I feel like of our generation are like, they're obviously top choices. And I think it's a great thing to be able to have such talented voice actors bring these characters to life. I mean, it'll be kind of interesting because I feel like the old one, like it felt like these were these characters, but now I'm like, oh, now I know it's them. And it's probably not like a huge thing, but like now it's like, okay, but I know they'll do a great job and stuff. But I like the scene we saw. I love that the mother takes center stage. I love that the family's staying the same. I mean, and once again, I've been able to talk to a few people like that are working on this project and are doing, bringing this to life, and they're taking this very seriously, because this means a lot to a lot of people, and it's a bigger change than I think a lot of us expected, how much they're moving things forward. But I from what I've seen so far, I think they're really taking this responsibility very seriously. So it's all, I think, all good news on this front.
I agree. And I do think it's funny because you think historically when they first made the attraction, they did use a big name. And
right.
And so we're just not old enough to be like, oh, this is awesome.
Right. It's so true. I think one of my favorite things about this whole Carousel of Progress is when it originally, debuted at the World's Fair, it was basically looking back 60 years. And when this opens, it's going to kind of do the same thing. So we're like, it is changing, but it's also kind of bringing it back to the original intent, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that progress thing. It's been funny. I'm stuck on the voices for a second more, but it's been funny since they made the announcements, because I think we all go through this process of like, well, why don't they just voice match and find, but then it would be going back to what you talked about with Rocket, where we'd be like, well, it doesn't sound quite right.
Yeah, it's like, it's almost there. I hear it, but then they make one little inflection. You're like, that's not my dad. What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
You just can't really win, unfortunately, especially when you try to do those things.
Yeah, I think they're making a good choice. How about Villains Land? We learned that the name for Villains Land is Villains Land because that makes sense and it's simple.
Yes, it does. It does.
We got to learn about the 2 attractions. One of them we basically had all guessed and kind of knew that it was going to be a Maleficent coaster.
Right.
And I think it's going to be great. But then we also learned about the Mirror Realm. And this one, to me, is one of the most intriguing attractions we've heard in years.
Yeah.
Mainly because it's kind of old school Disney magic in terms of story with some of the most cutting edge technology. What did you think of this?
Yeah, I think this is, first of all, a really good way to bring in like numerous amounts of villains, so you can get a lot of like representation from a lot of different films, obviously. But yeah, I love how they're saying it's, you know, like you mentioned, it's a combination of special effects and physical set pieces. So I think it's like going to be a really cool way, like it's bringing you to a different world, like it's magically transporting you inside the mirror, the magic mirror himself and stuff. And I think they have a lot of chances to make this really fun and special and do stuff, because, you know, I love when there's a combination of real spaces that you're playing in and then putting the special effects on top. And I think being able to play into the story about, you know, why are we all here? What do these villains mean? What is happening? What's the real story here? What are they seeing from their perspective? I think that's going to be really special. But yeah, I mean, the dark rides and the water rides are like always my favorite. So whenever we get something like that is really cool. But yeah, this definitely does feels like a little step up from what they've been doing, and I'm really excited to see how it turns out.
And I think the potential for surprise characters in it are amazing.
Oh yeah,
and then also Easter eggs. Like I can only imagine how many things 100%. That you ride on it over and over again. You're like, oh, that's over there, and this reference to Snow White or something is over there. You know, like I don't know.
For sure.
I think it's gonna be great. We also learned more about Cars Land, so we now know it's what it is. It Cars Ridge Run Rally? Did I get that right?
I think you might have.
Close, right?
It is Cars Ridge Run Rally. Yep.
Yeah, unless I said it backwards.
Yeah.
Dyslexia,
Cars
guys.
Ridge Run Rally. Yeah, it's all we got it. We got it. Cars Ridge Run Rally at Piston Peak. Yeah, we kind of knew what it was, but yeah, now we got a name. We get a little bit more. It's going to be pretty cool.
And we got a model. Did you get time to look at this model? I spent probably
not enough time,
a half hour on it.
Oh my gosh. I wish, yeah, I mean, that's like, if you're able to kind of look at videos and see these things, like this model is huge. It is like the scale is just amazing to see. And once again, like if you study kind of Imagineering and you know the history of Disney and the way that Imagineers build these attractions, they always talk about like eyesight and getting on the level of guests and being able to do stuff. And models are such a big way because you can literally bend down and see like how people are going to be walking through and seeing lines and seeing different lands and seeing different landscapes and stuff, and being able to kind of get this close to a model, because there's so much detail that like you wouldn't even know. Like there's so many little nods to, you know, not just cars, but to different areas of like the Colorado Rockies that this whole land is kind of inspired by, and from the different geysers to the snowtop mountains to seeing like, you know, what will be Villains Land in the future, where Big Thunder Mountain is. Like you kind of get a sense of space where this is. And also, I think what I loved about this model too, because, you know, when they got rid of Rivers of America and when this whole thing was happening, obviously the worry was the lack of nature, the water. But there's so much water, there's so much nature, so many trees, so many like really, they really when you're in this land, they want you to feel like you're in this land and stuff. And I think it's going to add something really, really beautiful to Magic Kingdom.
I think the thing that's going to surprise people too is, to me, it looked refreshing.
Yes,
like
right.
And it's Florida, so it's hot, and I'm always kind of like, where can I find some sort of shelter or respite, you know, like from the heat? And I looked at it and I was like, oh, it looks like lots of trees, it looks like shade, it looks like
even the geysers might mist you a little bit when they go off or something. That could be a thing. I like that.
And
it's
the
going to be pretty
attraction
special.
itself looks like a blast, whether you're slipping and sliding in the snow or going through water or all this stuff. I'm like, it's everything you wanted to do with your car when you were a kid camping that your dad wouldn't do.
Yes, right. Exactly. That's so true. Less of the danger too of like having consequences happen and stuff. But
Yeah,
I mean, like,
we'll
you know, and I think it's really cool because, you know, like Imagineering, they could have just made Radiator Springs again. Like they could have just done another Cars Land because first of all, it's incredible at DCA. Like it's so great, especially at nighttime when you walk into that place. But they really are doing something different while still having those nods to the original cars. Like, you know, Miss Fritters getting her own attraction. Mater and Lightning are going to be at the end, like cheering you on and kind of like narrating the whole race and stuff like that. But I think this is a really special thing that, as someone who just watched Planes 2 and was introduced to Piston Peak, which was such a big surprise because I was like, oh my God, even though it's like a little different here and stuff. I know it like actually is a place. So it's like fun that they like reach back into history to kind of grab that forward and make it into something new. But yeah, this I think there's a lot to really love about this land and how the ride like literally goes kind of all around the land and goes up through the mountains and down and through the geysers and different things like that. Like I think there's a lot of potential here if this can really come together because the nature part of it is really, really special to me, I think.
And I think those with cameras are really going to enjoy, you know, like whether it's just pictures with your family or you just like taking those landscape Disney shots.
100%. Yes. And the way they line up with, like you said, with the other parts of Magic Kingdom, I think there's going to be some really, really cool imagery, especially, like I said, when Villain's Land is happening and like Maleficent's coaster is like, you know, like skyrocketing high up there and seeing that. Like, I think there's a lot of really cool potential in this land.
I totally agree. Other place that has a lot of potential that I feel like is a surefire home run is Disney's Hollywood Studios with Monstropolis, which we are going to be able to visit next year, which I thought was one of those big surprises that kind of also got washed over by everything else.
There was so much happening. You're right. There was so much happening. But yeah, we're going to be in Monstropolis next year. We're not going to be able to do the door coaster quite yet, which obviously is going to be coming a little later. But yeah, like knowing that we're going to have a new land to walk through, like, and 2026 is almost over. It's like almost September, which is crazy. Like it's coming up quickly. I was able to go behind the scenes of Monstropolis and kind of see it in progress. And like there was still a lot of work to be done, but like you can see they're taking the bones of like all the Muppets like buildings and stuff, and the way they're kind of building it into this street that you can walk through that will eventually lead to Monsters Inc. and stuff like that. But I think they really, if people have been to Zootopia in Shanghai and like have been able to experience that, like it's going to be a really special place to walk through. We got to see some little monsters, and like I think the city's going to feel really alive. I'm really excited for the potential of what this could be.
And I don't know about you, but I'm excited about sushi at Harryhausen's.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? That's like I feel like as a Disney kid or like growing up, that's always one of the top of the list. Like I wish we could go to Harryhausen's. Come on.
They literally made the announcement and I texted Katie. I'm like, I want sushi. And I'm like, there's nowhere to have sushi here right now because we're at D23.
Oh my gosh. They should have sent it out in the audience. That would have been a nice touch. But
can you imagine like we got Portos a few years ago?
Yeah, right. Seriously. It's so funny. But yeah, like not only we getting sushi, but like we're getting audio animatronic of the sushi chef, which is going to be a great touch. Like, and obviously the Glob Theater stuff is coming. So like alongside a lot of these little things, we're really going to get to experience. I think this is one of those places I feel like Disney and Pixar fans have been wanting to be a part of for a long time. So I think they're making the right choices, and hopefully it turns out as well as we're hoping.
So here's my question for you. Is the sushi chef going to be Disney's Hollywood Studios Cosmic Ray?
Ooh, that's an interesting thing because I don't remember him talking too much in the movie, so
I don't either. But I was just kind of like,
yeah, it could be that there definitely could be something there.
Just popped in my head.
Yeah, right.
All right, Epcot. We did get a few tidbits about Epcot, kind of big tidbits to be honest. Spaceship Earth first. We are moving from a history of mankind based on communication to a history of mankind based on connection, which is so in line with what the Walt Disney Company is doing right now, because I feel like everything's connection, everything's storytelling. And even the way like you think of the different stories we've shared tonight of our conversations with different Imagineers and executives, it's all been based on connection.
Yes.
And they're not just saying these things, they're making these things happen across the company. And so it kind of makes sense that they do this with Spaceship Earth. But what do you think of this change? What do you expect to actually change? And this is a guess, I'm sure, but
Yeah, right. Exactly. I know this is a big one because this could
Yeah.
they could really do a huge overhaul of everything and like change all the scenes and do the things. I mean, I think there's a lot they can do, but I do feel like this ride is just so iconic. Like it's just there's so many incredible moments and things, and like I mean, even today, like I feel like it really still holds up really nicely. Like sure, some of the like the tech, like you know, I love at the end when you kind of put where you are and what your future is, but like half the time you don't show up, or you're like it's your shoulder instead of your face, and
maybe
I know
new ride vehicles and cameras.
Yes, maybe new ride vehicles, cameras. The experience after the ride is a great concept, but some of those are obviously dated and stuff like that. So I would love to see a modern take on those. Obviously, you know, I still do hope they hold true to the having all these audio animatronics and all these scenes and be able to like get a glimpse of where we've been, where we can go, and like you know, like I said, maybe take a little focus a little more on the future because I feel like we don't get as much into that and stuff. But I think I'm excited to see what they can do with this new iconic attraction because yeah, there's just this is definitely a big one where I'm very curious like how much is it going to be, you know, really Carousel of Progress where they're really pushing everything forward,
right?
Or how's everything going to be? There's a lot. I'm very intrigued by this one.
I am too, and I think you hit it because as you were speaking, I was like, well, is this going to be a Carousel of Progress reimagining, or is it going to be, hey, we're polishing it up, tweaking it a bit, throwing in a new narrator? Yeah. Right. My question is, who do you think should be the new narrator?
Ooh, that's a good one. Timothy Chalamet, he's everywhere, man. No, I'm just kidding. I think it should be maybe Kermit. Yeah, I think that would be good.
There you go. I mean, they did the Rainbow Connection thing on the outside. Yeah, so right. I don't know.
You never know. Oh my gosh. Who do you think? Where's your head going?
Tom Hanks.
That's a great choice.
Like, I feel like it would just be comforting. It'd be natural. He played Walt Disney and everybody loved him in Saving Mr. Banks. I personally think he should be a Disney legend at some point.
Yeah, right.
But
no, I think that like when you said that, I was like, yeah, that feels right.
It feels, yeah, I think that's what it is. It feels right. I'd love to see him narrate Candlelight too.
Yeah, definitely. That would be amazing too. Yeah, I would love to see that happen. I'm fully on board that train for sure.
So hopefully we'll be sitting in white chairs again and watching him.
Yes, exactly. Definitely. Oh my gosh, I hope so. Oh, it's the best.
So fun. Also, biggest news perhaps of the night was Dreamfinder is returning with Figment for a new adventure into imagination. I'm paraphrasing, close to quoting what they said. Predictions, thoughts, what?
So this was so funny because we got the Tomorrowland announcement and then everyone's like, thank you, everybody. And so everybody started walking, like people started charging because it is at D23. If you go to the Honda Center, like you might have to wait a couple hours to get back. It's the transportation is not great, unfortunately. But yeah, so people were going, they were like, what, one more thing? And then, you know, Neil Patrick Harris comes out as Dreamfinder and stuff. And, you know, most of the crowd goes wild, but I still, half the people like didn't even look back. It was
nobody knew it was happening too.
I know, right? Like this is, it's really funny, but I just don't, there's like, especially I feel like Figment is like having his renaissance. He's having his moment.
Thank goodness.
I know, right? Like he's just, I'm so glad that they're really leaning into this and, you know, bringing Dreamfinder back.
Yeah.
And like I said, like, you know, Figment's getting his first Lorcana card. They just announced at this adventure. Like he's such a big part of everything that's happening. So I think it's really worthy. And this is another ride that I don't have as much history with. Like obviously I love the idea of Figment and things like that, but I don't have as much, but you could definitely see where there could be some really fun things to modernize this ride. And once again, inspire that imagination, which this is about. I think there's really a lot of potential in this one to be able to be something special and really, like, you know, like I said, accelerate that popularity of Figment that already has a great.
And one of the things we've talked about here is how the current iteration of the attraction really is almost a toleration of imagination through most of it, and it's kind of an annoyance. And I've always felt that like maybe you could go all in on like, hey, maybe this should be embraced and it should be more about the creative process and the like what you can do to spur on your imagination. Like Don Hahn has this great book that's about making a space for creativity and how to be creative. And I almost feel like you do something more like that and lean into that edutainment and just make it charming and happy and positive and music filled,
Yes, right. Exactly. It's just have it be a joyful ride and just,
Yeah.
like I said, just spark that imagination. I always say, I talk about this all the time. You don't necessarily know where the spark of like a young child or even a kid at heart, where their spark can come from, but it could come from any place. And I think building spaces and, like I said, making them modern enough. I think that's what's so wonderful about what Disneyland, especially like Disneyland did when it started, is like it had such a focus on nostalgia and like bringing us back to a time long gone, like that feeling of a place that even though we may have never been, we can all relate to, which is special. But there was so much cutting edge technology built into that, and that vision of the future, not being afraid to, forge your path forward, but also honoring what came before. So like, I think when Disney is able to kind of bring those all together, I think that's when you get something really, really special. And hopefully they'll be able to continue that with this. And like I said, modernize it a little bit. So like, people can appreciate those little details, I think, a little more.
And just hearing you say that, I'm thinking of Disney World Builders, which we've both seen very recently. But it really was that yin and yang of like story and technology that were intertwined and pushing each other on. And and I'm thinking of Jon Favreau in that, even like when he was talking about the history plus the pushing forward and all of that stuff. Anyway, that's another podcast.
I know, right? but it's true. Like it's like you mentioned, it's like everything that Disney has been doing recently. It does it's bringing back these major concepts where you can connect them, and that's I think why a lot of this stuff is working and connecting with a lot of people, because it does feel kind of authentic and real, and hearing from the people behind the scenes. And like, I think, just back to World Builders for 1 second, but how they start with all these creators and show them as kids and how they grew up and how they had all these doubts and all these fears and doing stuff like that. Like they're showing that like, like this could be you could be up on the stage one day, you can make this stuff happen. And I think that's the best thing Disney can do is when they inspire these future generations of storytellers and give them spaces to like find that spark or that interest of whatever it may be. Because there's you never know where it can come from.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we might have to have another conversation about Disney World Build, at least in the future, because I think there's so many lessons to be learned from that. Speaking of world building, they're returning to a previous world that was made in the terms of Space Mountain in Disneyland Paris.
Yes.
I love this. They're doing exactly what you just talked about, of updating technology, making it cutting edge, but returning to the original version.
Yes. Which I think I still have yet to make it to an international park, which pains me every day.
This needs to happen.
I know it does. It really does. But like, hearing that this version of Space Mountain, like there's Space Mountains all over the world, but they all kind of give you that different experience. But, I, once again, huge history person, love the thing. And knowing that this is kind of tying back to the original Jules Verne story and like really giving you this really kind of retro, but futuristic idea of what this is going to be. Like, once again, it's like a choice. You're like, of course, like what else? Like, it's like the Tom Hanks, like you think, that makes total sense. And I think that's going to be really
such a good
cool.
ride.
I've
might
heard.
be from a track perspective, it might be my favorite version of the attraction. But what you're really excited about, I have a feeling, at Disneyland Paris is Lion King.
Yes.
Take the floor.
Once again, we didn't really get to, I feel like we didn't learn too much more about this land, unfortunately, but I feel like I'm going to just lose it when I walk through this land for the first time, and, be able to experience once again, like the whole attraction, going down Pride Rock and experiencing the story and the culture. And once again, being in a different park, like around the world, which I think is really special. But, I do love that we're kind of getting a recreation of Simba and Scar's final battle. Like there's like, they're not shying away from that. I mean, are we going to see Mufasa die? Like they might have to have something. I don't know how they're going to handle that. Cause
I hadn't thought of
like
that.
Because they are talking, like they're not going to be shying away from the not so happy times. So I'm sure there's going to be something. So we're all going to get traumatized again and stuff like that. But I think once again, it's like, it's kind of weird. It's crazy to think that it's taken like over 30 years for us to get like a Lion King ride or attraction, stuff like that. So I'm very excited to see this and to see the colors pop in Hakuna Matata and see how they transition from young Simba to older Simba. Like I can like picture so many special moments of this ride. Obviously,
can you feel the love tonight?
Yes, right, exactly. Like I think this is going to be something really special. And then I haven't been to Adventure World, but I heard World of Frozen, like they just got that place building so incredibly well, and they did such a great job of bringing you into the world of Frozen. And I don't know, I have very little doubts that they're going to do this again. And I'm just, as I mentioned earlier, Lion King means a lot, so I'm excited.
Well, and don't you think with all of the lands they've been doing recently, they've just shown how far they're willing to go to make these things awesome?
Yes,
and in a way that I don't think we've ever experienced before, because it's this coupling of technology, of resources, of creativity, and then the will to actually see it through.
Yes, right.
And I love that, because it just changes everything, and you give the potential of having that feeling of when you walked out of The Lion King in the movie theater in 1994.
Got it.
Off the top of my head.
Well done.
But like, I think it was one of those movies that just wowed you.
Yes, 100%.
And you need those emotional ups and downs to be wowed. And if they do that in the attraction as well, which it looks like they are, done.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you need take all of our money. We're going to buy all the merch, and I can't wait to see what food we have too.
Yes, I know. I'm so excited for that too. Definitely. That's always what I'm so excited about with Tropical Americas, with all these other lands. Like, I feel like we're going to be introduced to some delicious treats, which I'm very excited about. But You're right. I mean, like when they said that they're really going to lead into the not so happy times, that's just those are the things you want to hear, because like I said, like these stories we love, they're roller coasters. They're not like a straight road. Like that's boring. But when you go up and down and up and down, that's where you get those moments of whoa and hey, and kind of you get to catch your breath for a second before the next thing comes and gets you. And I think that being able to say, hey, we're not like, because Lion King is like, it's a very dark story in a lot of cases. And I think if they kind of tried to sand edge those edges down, once again, it wouldn't feel quite right. So I'm excited to see what this is. But yeah, it's we got to get there, man. We got to be there together and be like, we did it. We made it. I'm so excited. It's going to be good.
Perfect world. We're there for opening.
Yes, exactly.
So we also learned around the globe. I'll just cover these really quickly. Tokyo Disneyland's, we got a little bit look more at its new Tomorrowland and Space Mountain, along with the Wreck-It Ralph attraction. We got another look at the Spider-Man attraction over at Hong Kong Disneyland. Of the other stuff that's kind of happening in the Asian Disney parks, what really jumped out at you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's really fun that we're getting, like I said, they're not really just limiting, obviously, all these big properties to the States or whatever. So it's nice that like they're giving a lot of excuses. Like if you go to these other parks, like you're not just experiencing the same things over and over again. Like you're really going to get to different things. So I think a Wreck-It Ralph, I think that's going to be really fun. I just think that there's so much charm there. And once again, so many Easter eggs and nods and fun things you can do. And I think I'm excited to see how that turns out, because I think that's a really, really fun world that they've created. And I'm excited to kind of see how once again, that one is brought to life, which is once again, something new, which is exciting.
Yeah. And it's kind of futuristic too. Like,
yeah, right. Exactly,
I think it'll fit. The thing that excited me about that area in particular is Jill Estorino, the Disneyland Resort president, just came from overseeing all of the stuff at Fantasy Springs and also the work happening at Tokyo Disneyland with Tomorrowland. And then the Imagineer, same thing. She's overseeing both right now.
Yeah.
And that gives me so much hope for what we get in Tomorrowland here at Disneyland.
Yes. Yeah.
Which 100%. Is kind of a sidestep on my own question, but
yeah, no, but I think it's an important point, because they're putting people in the right places. Like they're making decisions and putting people that have a lot of these experiences in their back pocket and are going to be able to bring that forward. And I think that's a really important thing, because when you have someone leading your company or the charge of these projects, that's like, hey, we can take what we did here and make it better. We learned these lessons. We did this, instead of just bringing in some big name or some finance person. Like you're not going to get the same thing from that kind of stuff. So I think it's a great point.
I'm looking forward to it. The other thing I'm looking forward to is Disney Believe. We now know Moana is going to be the centerpiece for the Grand Hall. And we also got to look at the new class, I guess you could call it, of ships, which will be bigger than Disney Magic, smaller than Disney Wish, which might be perfection. What did you think of the Disney Cruise Line announcements?
You know, I've been very fortunate to be able to cover a lot of Disney Cruise Line stuff, and I was able to go to Papenburg, Germany, to see how the Destiny was built, and was there as the steel cutting of the Believe happened. And let me tell you, like the team, that is Disney on the Disney Cruise Line are some of the best people that I've ever met, and some of the most passionate and incredible and like welcoming and people. They just do such an amazing job, and they are just riding this train of like all these ships coming out by 2032. What 13 ships they're gonna have, and like it's such a special thing to be. Once again, the ocean has my heart, so I like love being on the ocean, and also being able to be surrounded by Disney and this like level of care and thing. I think is really special. And I think the Believe is just, once again, riding that train a lot more. I think Moana is obviously a perfect choice for like being leading a ship. And I think the Woody and Buzz and how even the text is a little different, and they're like drawing the words on the back, I think is a really fun play on things.
So cute.
Yeah, and like I said, I think what's also cool about the new ship, which once again, or the new class, which we didn't once again learn the name of or like a lot too much, is like it opens them to a lot. It opens them to be able to even go to more ports, like because some ports can't handle some of these bigger ships or doing things. So I think it's really special to be able to kind of say, hey, wherever you are in the world, we're going to find a way to get to you and like experience that thing. So once again, I got all the faith in the world, and the cruise line team, they're so great, and I'm very excited to see what happens with the Believe, which I think may have an Encanto dining experience. If I had to give a little prediction, ride that Encanto train or something. I think get that Colombian food, get the dancing and the music. I mean, it's a great fit.
I would be all for that. I think you could do no wrong with it. I just think there's so much potential with this ship. Like some ways, as much as this keeps happening with every ship where I'm like, oh, this is the next best one ever. And I feel like they just keep topping themselves, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see what this one's like. All right. So as we wrap this up, Adam, what is your number one standout announcement from last weekend? It can be Horizons, or if you want, you can go further because we did skip everything else.
That's right. I know. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think Encanto, like that whole Tropical America's land is close. I think the carousel is going to be special. I think that whole land is, but I mean, I think that Coco won the weekend for me because it's just like, we're going to be returning to that world, I think, in a really special way. Like actually being able to ride and experience the original thing, being able to play it in Kingdom Hearts, being able to watch a sequel to the movie. I think that really says a lot about what's happening. And like I said, I've always just kind of dreamed of, once again, I've said this a million times, I've dreamed of being able to be a part of Coco, and like I'll finally be able to, which I think is so special. And I think it's just going to lend itself so beautifully well. And I cannot wait for the Coco Renaissance we're about to be going in.
And I predict it's going to become one of the most popular attractions in that park. And, as you were speaking, I'm like, oh, it's going to be this park's Pirates of the Caribbean, because people are just going to want to go it over and over again with all of the generations of their family. And everybody's going to have that favorite character or moment in the attraction like Pirates does. And I can't wait to see it too.
Yeah, and I think one last thing about the Coco thing, and I know this was kind of like a D23 thing, but they had this really special thing where you were able to write your favorite Disneyland memory and put it into a box, and it's going to be put into the ride. So like the base, I think, of a tree or of some part of this ride, like so all these dreams and wishes. And not only that, but they had like kind of a semi-ofrenda on the wall of the Imagineers that are bringing this story to life, of their family, of their loved ones. And that's like, you're getting what Coco means. It's like so special. And like, I did a Disneyland one, but I also did another one that was like, I love you, Dad. I love you, Liam and Ella. And like being able to put that and know that that's going to be a part of it. And even if you didn't get to do that, like, I think when you going through this ride and seeing families and reunited and like thinking of your loved ones and how you want to be there. And when the music swells and like, my Proud Corazon comes on, which I'm sure it will, which is like always just gets me every time. Like, I think that's going to make some really good things. And I think you were on our show talking Disney Magic last week, and you mentioned that I missed the Frenda at Disneyland by like a week or something. So like being able to like also be able to do that at Disneyland is really special too. So it's like,
I think technically it's all 4 days.
Yes, right. I'm like, oh, so close. So yeah,
such is
I'm
life.
really excited for that. I know, right? Such is life. But yeah, that's,
you got to get here for
excited.
Plaza de Familiar some year.
Yes, I know, seriously. But yeah, what about you? What are you most excited for?
So I'm changing. I talked about it earlier this week on Geeks Corner, and I think I'm changing my answer. And I think I'm going with Dreamfinder now, because as I'm sitting here thinking about it and talking, I love the spirit of imagination and what Dreamfinder represents. And part of this, I have Dreamfinder all over my studio, but I think there's so much potential for building a picture for a better future, like painting that possibility ideas and pictures and really building people up for what could be. And that's really what Disney's all about. And I think that's, as much as I wanted to go Tomorrowland going into this, for many of the same reasons.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I think Figment represents everything else that we love about Disney and the possibility and the imagination and the positivity. So I'm going to go with Figment. And Dreamfinder. We need both of them.
Of course.
And I'm totally okay if it's Neil Patrick Harris as Dreamfinder.
Right? I know that was definitely one of the things going into it. It's like, is that why they brought him on stage? Is this going to be our new Dreamfinder?
He was in How Not to Draw.
Right, like, exactly.
They used his voice, so I think there's precedent.
A lot of things pointing there. I completely agree, but yes, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's just
it's the new Figment extended universe.
Yes, exactly. Hey, that he's worth it. He's worth it. It's gonna be great.
I totally agree. Special. Well, thank you so much, Adam, for taking the time to chat and geek out about D23 and Horizons with me. I can't wait till we have more to chat about, which we always do, so that'll be fine. But where can people catch everything you're doing?
Yeah, thank you so much, man. It's been such a pleasure to be able to share these things with you. And once again, like have an hour to just geek out about this stuff, because we're always running all over the place. So it means the world that you had me on here, and just your support and just being such a great friend is everything. But it's
the feeling's mutual.
Yeah, it's really it's what it's all about. We talk about that all the time. But yeah, you can follow me in my work on IGN. I've written a few things for WDW Magazine. There might be some other places, but a lot of my work is on IGN. I also run a podcast called Talking Disney Magic, where we rank and review the biggest films in Disney and Pixar's catalog and talk about the biggest news in the House of Mouse. So there's a lot of fun happening. There's a recent, if you want to just listen to some predictions, Mr. Daps was on our show before that, so we had a really great chat. So you can kind of get the preview and then the new and this here.
I wonder how much we got right and wrong.
I know, right? Exactly. Oh my gosh, probably not that much. Its predictions are tough, but
it was fun.
Yeah, exactly. But I post a lot of stuff on Instagram. You can follow me at Adam Bankhurst. A lot of my updates and things that are going on like that. But yeah, once again, I so appreciate you inviting me to be able to chat this stuff, because there's so many amazing things coming. And once again, like it's such an exciting time, because I feel like a few years ago we got a lot of these announcements and a lot of these things are happening, but like things are happening. Like we're going to Magic and Disney Animation shortly. Like that's going to be opening. There's a lot of other things. We're getting a new land. Like things are really, construction is happening. It's a really great time to be a Disney Parks, Disney Cruise Line fan. So I'm really, really excited for what's coming.
I am too, and I'm excited that we all get to do this together. Yes. Thank you so much for being on, Adam, and let's do it again sometime.
Let's do it right now. Let's roll it back.
Take two.
Take two. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you. Thank you again, Adam, for being on Daps Magic, Disney, and Positive Stuff. It's always fun to geek out about all of this stuff with you, and it's fun to geek out with all of you at home, in your cars, wherever you happen to be. But we'd like to hear from you as well. What did you think the biggest, most exciting announcement of D23, the Ultimate Disney Fan, was? Thank you again, Adam, for being on Daps Magic, Disney, and Positive Stuff. It's always a blast to get to geek out about this stuff with you. It's also fun to geek out with all of you who happen to be watching or listening wherever you may be. So we'd like to hear from you. Let us know what you think the most exciting, biggest, whatever announcement it is that connected with you the most from D23, the Ultimate Disney Fan event, in the comments over on Daps Magic HQ at dapshq.com, or over on social media as well. We've got a great Facebook group that would be a lot of fun to hear from you and hear your opinion. So let us know. Also, if you'd like, take a moment to rate this podcast. We'd love a great rating if you feel like it. If you have any ideas for this podcast or anything you'd like to have us cover, or someone you'd like to hear me talk with, let me know. Shoot me a message on social media over on Instagram, Twitter, you name it. I guess it's X technically, but I'd love to hear from you. All right, I think that's all we've got for you this week. I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day wherever you are. I'm looking forward to geeking out about more Disney and positive stuff with you in the very near future. But for now, I'm just going to say, make it a great week, keep kind, and we'll see you in the parks.